Hey everyone, and welcome to Airbnb Hosting Taxes Matter. So you've taken the leap and become an Airbnb host in awesome Melbourne. That's great. You're meeting new people, showing off our cool city, and probably making some extra cash along the way. But before you start planning that dream holiday with your earnings, let's talk about taxes. Now don't click away. I know taxes might sound a bit boring, but trust me, this is important stuff. This video will break down the basics of Airbnb taxes in Australia in a way that's easy to understand. No confusing jargon, I promise. We'll cover what you need to know to avoid any surprises when it's tax time. We'll also look at how you can keep more of your hard-earned money by making sure you're claiming all the right deductions. So grab yourself a drink, get comfy, and let's dive right in. Oh, and one last thing before we start. This video is just a general guide. It's always best to chat with a tax expert to get advice tailored to your specific situation. Okay, let's imagine you've had your first few Airbnb guests. Money's coming in. Awesome. But you might be wondering, what exactly do I need to tell the tax man about? Basically, any money you make from renting out your place on Airbnb is considered income, and you need to pay tax on it. This includes the rent you charge each night or week. But that's not all. Do you charge a separate cleaning fee? That's income too. And what about any extra services you offer? Things like airport pickups, breakfast, or even guided tours of our beautiful city. If you're charging guests extra for these, they're also part of your rental income. One more thing to keep in mind, the Australian Taxation Office, or ATO, we Aussies love our abbreviations, wants to make sure you're charging a fair price for your property. If your rental income is way lower than what similar places in your area are charging, they might take a closer look. All right, now for some good news. You can subtract expenses related to your Airbnb from your rental income. This means you'll only pay tax on the profit you make, not the total amount you earn. But hold on, not all expenses are created equal. Let's break it down. First up, we've got expenses that are directly related to the rented area, the part of your home your guests use. Think new furniture just for your guests, like that comfy couch you bought for the guest room. You can claim something called depreciation on that. Cleaning supplies are also deductible. Things like the vacuum cleaner, cleaning products, and linen used exclusively for your Airbnb space. And what about repairs and maintenance? Let's say you need to fix a leaky tap in the guest bathroom. That's a deductible expense. Now, things get a bit trickier when it comes to shared spaces. You can still claim deductions, but you need to figure out what portion of the use is related to your Airbnb. Take utilities, for example. You can deduct a percentage of your electricity, gas, water, and internet bills based on how much of your home is used for Airbnb. The same goes for cleaning. If you hire a cleaner for the whole house, you can only claim the portion of the cost related to the Airbnb areas. Lastly, we have private area expenses. These are for parts of your home that your guests don't have access to. Your bedroom, your bathroom, etc. Unfortunately, you can't claim deductions for these areas. And no, that fancy cheese platter you enjoyed with friends? Definitely not deductible. Remember, keep all your receipts and invoices handy. The ATO might want to see them. Now let's talk about the Airbnb levy in Victoria. In Victoria, there's a 7.5% levy on short-term rentals. This levy is paid to State Revenue Victoria and applies to the income you earn from your Airbnb. Make sure to set aside this amount from your earnings to stay compliant with state regulations. Let's talk about what happens if your Airbnb expenses are more than your rental income, especially when you're just starting out. This is called a rental loss. The good news is you can usually use this loss to reduce the tax you pay on other income you earn, like your salary. However, the ATO wants to be sure you're genuinely running a business and not just renting out your property at a loss to pay less tax. Another important thing to know is capital gains tax, or CGT. This comes into play when you sell your property. If you've been using part or all of it for Airbnb, you'll need to pay CGT on the portion of your profit from the sale that relates to the Airbnb activity. All right, let's talk about goods and services tax, or GST. Don't worry, in most cases you won't need to worry about GST on your Airbnb income. This is because the money you make from renting out your home is generally exempt from GST. Even if you're earning a decent amount from Airbnb above the GST turnover threshold of $75,000, you probably won't need to register for GST. However, there are a few exceptions. For example, if you're providing extra services beyond just accommodation, like regular cleaning or meals, GST might apply. It's always best to double-check with a tax professional if you're unsure about your GST obligations.